Today we are going to be talking about music video tips. This isn't like too high of a drop to put my camera on this ledge here, is it? Is this like super sketchy? What's up guys, this is Nehemiah Peterson and I am a portrait and real estate photographer, filmmaker from Burlington, Wisconsin. Today we are going to be talking about music video tips. I am not claiming to be the expert when it comes to shooting music videos. However, in just shooting my first music video, I did learn a few things that I think are valuable to share so that you guys don't have to learn the same things the hard way like I did. If you guys didn't get a chance to see my first music video, here's a preview.
Started all this rapping a long time ago. I was just a youngin' trying to be bursting flows, but haters would hurt me, bro. So I took my time to grow in my rhymes and in my flows, with Jesus and in my zone. Look at me now, I'm reaching goals. Your current situation ain't your future destination. Fought against the defamation, and I had a revelation.
For those of you who don't know, I shoot all of my photo, video, vlogs, etc. on the new Fujifilm Xt4. So I'm going to be talking from that perspective, but if you have a different camera or a different brand of camera, these will still apply to you. Tip number one for shooting music videos is to make your histogram, waveform, exposure meter thing extremely available and easy to find. What I do on the Fuji Xt4 and what I would recommend all Fuji users do is to bind your histogram exposure meter thingy to a custom button or a custom function. I personally have it set to the swipe up on the touchscreen, but I would just recommend that you put it somewhere where you can access it very easily. This allows you to get your exposure spot on in every single situation. You should never trust your eyes when it comes to exposure because your eyes can deceive you. If you're outside, it might look brighter on your screen than it actually is, or darker even than it actually is. You might have your highlights blown out or your blacks too dark, but if you have your histogram and you trust that, you're able to get your exposure proper right on the spot first try, so that way when you're in editing, it's not a hassle to try and fix or recover parts of your exposure that were improperly exposed. Now you might be thinking to yourself, I shoot in log or I shoot in raw, and that doesn't really matter for me because I can bring that back in post. Well, number one, you want to get your exposure as close to perfect as you can in camera so you don't have to fix it. And also, it's going to make your highlights and your shadows and just your overall image look a lot better if you get your exposure proper right up front. For those of you who are not shooting in log or shooting in raw for video, this is especially important because if you mess up your exposure in camera and then you bring it back into an editing software, it's going to be really hard to make your image look good. Tip number two is to bind a button to turning your eye autofocus on and off. In most cases when it comes to shooting video, you're going to want to be shooting in manual focus. That being said, there are certain times where shooting in autofocus or continuous autofocus is going to make things a lot easier because you don't have a focus puller or you don't have another person pulling focus. So this is going to apply to you immensely if you are going to be shooting a scene in autofocus. We had a scene in the music video that I just shot where I wanted to do a dolly out style shot and I didn't have anybody pulling focus. I was on a gimbal and I could have pulled focus, but I didn't want my camera to shake at all because of user error. That being said, I shot this scene on continuous focus so that when I panned out, it would still keep focus on my subject's face. That being said, when you have multiple people in the frame, sometimes when you have continuous focus on and when you have eye autofocus on, your camera isn't sure which face you want to be in focus, so it skips around to different people and it will keep focus, but it will switch focus to different people, making it sometimes hunt during your clip. You obviously don't want this, so if you have the ability to turn eye autofocus on and off on the fly, when you have one person in the frame, you can keep that continuous autofocus on with your eye autofocus, but if you have multiple people in the frame and you still want continuous autofocus on, you're able to turn that eye autofocus off and just have your little box thing over your subject so that it keeps them in focus. Tip number 3 is to use an external monitor. And I know some of you might be thinking, I know it might be nice to be able to see my image on a larger scale than my camera monitor, but I don't really feel that that's necessary. And it isn't necessary, but what is really nice is that if you're shooting in log or in RAW, most external monitors, you're going to be able to put a LUT preview on that monitor, or for Fujifilm cameras, you can actually have the HDMI feed that is being sent to your monitor be a preview in a film simulation. This gives you the ability to see your footage in a more realistic fashion, how it might look after your color grade. Why this is so important is because sometimes, even if you are looking at your histogram, your color might be off from what you want it to be. Even if it's still fine, you obviously want to get your color, your exposure, all that in camera properly right up front so that when you go into editing, you can save time because it's as close to what you wanted it to be as possible. If you have a film simulation being sent straight to your preview on your external monitor, or you've uploaded a LUT to be able to preview your footage into, it's gonna make it so much easier and you're gonna be able to be so much more confident that your footage is looking exactly like you want it to look. So that's pretty much it for me, guys. I hope that you enjoyed these tips and got something out of them. Leave a comment below and let me know which of these 3 tips helped you out the most. Also, if you want to see the full music video for Don't Doubt Me, the link is in the description, and also it is on my channel. I uploaded it earlier this week. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you like this video and if you want to see more from me. I'm so excited about the community that we are building here. Thank you to all my current subscribers. We recently just hit 200 subscribers. I am so thankful for all of your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.